Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Niko, and joins me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How's it going?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. Looking forward to talking another week of comics here. This is episode 218 of our weekly new comic book review show, where me and Chris get together every week and we talk about the new comics that we've read, give you our thoughts on them, ratings and reviews, show off some of the artwork, sometimes get into some comic book news, things happening in the industry, all kinds of great stuff. And today we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of February 18th, 2026. I also want to mention, if you check back in the feed, we'll also have a new episode of Comic Book Solicitations that we're going to be putting out for May. I think it's May 2026 that we'll be discussing on that one. So make sure to tune in for that. That's another episode me and Chris do monthly, where we go over the comic book solicitations, all the announcements for new books that are coming out from companies in the future, since you have to put in your pre-orders for these things that they sell in comic book stores. So we'll be talking about the stuff that's coming out in May for like DC, Marvel Comics, Image Comics. So yeah, make sure to check out those videos. It's a good way of kind of like figuring out of what's going to look good that you might want to pick up in a couple of months when it comes out. We get to talk about a lot of different comic books. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure to check out some of our other videos here. This week, we also will be doing a live episode on Wednesday, probably at 9:15 p.m. The finale of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms for all you Game of Thrones fans out there. Make sure to check that out. We record those live, and then we won't be back until June when House of the Dragon Season 3 comes back out here this year. So if you like Game of Thrones, make sure to check that one out too. That comes out the last episode this Wednesday live at 9:15 p.m., or you can catch it after it airs. And spoiler warning, guys, we are going to be talking about what happens in the books here today. So if you're worried about getting spoiled, you can always read your books and then come back and check us out at a later time. All right, Chris.
All right, let's talk comics.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. First up on the docket here today, we got Generation X23, number 1. Just to go over some of the new number 1s here this week at the top of the show, as we normally do. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, I just gave it a read there. I just read this online, see what it's all about. I heard some good things, but I thought the art was good, story's decent. It's just it was an okay comic. I don't know what the heck the storyline on here is, but aren't they trying to get into some, I don't know, into some like freaking safe house or something like that?
Again, it's like the usual MO of these series that they've been having lately, is where she's trying to save mutants. Yeah. You could just take a guess at the plot of any of these X books, and a lot of them have something to do with that, right? And then it's really just about she comes across a mutant who doesn't know how to use their powers and is freaking out, and she tries to like help them out.
The big deal about this comic, it was supposed to introduce a whole bunch of other X type characters, isn't it? Like I don't know which department is freaking making them now, but there seems to be a whole bunch of new X clones that they're investigating.
Right, which I guess that's why they have Laura as the character that's looking into this, because she was somebody who was like experimented on, like in a program, like Wolverine as well, but different in a way.
Yeah, I do with Laura and Gabby together. They're a pretty good team.
I like
fun characters.
I also, like you had mentioned, the art's great on this. I'm not familiar with this artist, but I was really impressed by the art on this book too. It's like another Italian name artist who I'm like, I don't know if Marvel's got like a headquarters in Italy now. It seems like whatever an Italian
art there somewhere.
I don't even want to I don't know for a fact if the guy's Italian that's doing this comic, but there seems to be a lot of Italian artists all of a sudden over at Marvel, and the name kind of looked like it was Italian. So maybe I'm speaking out of school there, but the art was great. That was what I most enjoyed actually about this issue. The story wasn't bad. Again, as far as like some of these these new series have been going, like 5-10 issue series of these characters of all the X-Men they've been doing over the last year or so, this wasn't bad compared to some of the other ones. The other ones, there's some ones that are much, not as good. Don't get me as interested. I might check out the second issue of this. I don't know. like you said, I do like these characters. So
yeah, that's no harm, no foul to read them. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I give this. Now that we talk, I'll give it a 3.75 because the art is good. I do like the characters. The story is sort of ho hum, but there is some sort of some hope in there. With these X characters or clones. Maybe they got something good cooking there. But
yeah, I agree with everything you said there. That's exactly why this one has a lot more going for it than some of the other, like you said, ho-hum storylines we've been getting out of these miniseries that they've been putting out. So yeah, I'll probably give it another issue. So yeah, 3.75 out of 5 for sure. Next up, we got Death Fight Forever #1, which I don't think I have the art for this one. No, I don't. So I can just take the lead on this one if you want, Chris. So this, I picked up the issue of this. So this book previously came out through like a Kickstarter that like, I don't do many Kickstarters just because like here in Canada with the shipping and the conversion rate and all this stuff, it's like ridiculous. And then what ends up happening a lot of the time is it's not really an exclusive release. They just go and shop it to an actual publisher after it actually comes out, which is exactly what happened here. These are creators that came up with this book, Death Fight Forever, that I like. Andrew McLean, Alexis Urit, and there's some other people involved as well, but they're like kind of the two main guys. Al Gofa is another artist that's involved in this. And like, it's kind of like, he even kind of says it in like the letter columns of this issue. He's like, he based it, like there's these two brothers in it, Bash and Crash, who are basically like, like Double Dragon, like the brothers, and like they like the fight, like it. So it's, he based this on like a lot of like 80s action movies and video games. And that's kind of like what you get with some of like the weird characters that are showing up in this, and like some of the over the top kind of action and fighting that you get in this. Like, I don't have the art for it. I'll just try to show off some of the art. The art's really kind of unique looking. It's definitely more of like an indie art style, but it has some interesting elements in it. Like there's a dude that's like I don't know, he's like a half tiger, half man guy. And there's like a Cobra type of character, like that's a villain. So I don't know. It seems like just like, it's like if you were into like, like it kind of feels like Rambo at times. Like there's definitely like they're messing with like a lot of kind of stuff that's like familiar, I guess, from like 80s action movies and video games type stuff, and mashing it together and trying to like create a story out of it. I guess that's the vibes they're going for. Anyways, I will say this issue offered nothing other than like that the Kickstarter did. Like I have the hardcover, so I've already read this, but I was like, okay, they're coming out with new covers for it. Maybe there'll be some extra different material in these issues, these releases. This is exactly, I even compared it to my book. I think this whole miniseries is just going to be the exact same material. So I don't know if I'm going to continue buying it in issues because I do own the hardcover already, like the Kickstarter edition. So I don't know. What do you think of this? You said it didn't really leave that much of an impression.
Yeah, I think much of an impression. I remember there's one character in there, like I think she was like the lieutenant or something. Who's like sort of like the Elsa Wicked Warden or something like that. And yeah, now that you kind of talk about some of these characters, yeah, I remember that tiger person. I think it takes a lot to sort of get to know these characters, and maybe they'll grow on you after. But it didn't. There was no big hook in this issue that really kind of keeps you wanting more.
I agree with you. And I will say this. I mean, you could take my word for it or not. Anybody out there who may be interested in checking this out. Since I have read the material in the hardcover, I remember finishing that hardcover and really enjoying it. And then when I read this, I was a little underwhelmed. So I'm like, was it the first little bit that just wasn't that great? And like you said, kind of because you're kind of getting like dropped into this world of like weird different characters. Because by the end of that book I picked up, I really, really liked this, right? And that's why I kind of double dipped and picked up this issue. So I don't know. I would like to say it gets better, but if we're gonna judge this based on this issue, yeah, it wasn't the best first issue, I'll say, for this miniseries. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I would agree. I really like all this like themes involved and what they're going for in the art. And all I can say is that I really liked the collected edition that they did as a Kickstarter. So I think it would be better after this first issue. Next up, we got Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon #1. Chip Zdarsky. I got the Zdarsky variant here, like a Weapon X variant.
Yeah, I think that's the one I was looking to get, but I don't know. My variants haven't been coming in so well, but I still got this EA cover.
That's a great cover too. Yeah, that's. I actually wanted to get both, but I'm like, you know what? I got to stop doing that for some things.
Yeah, not for these ones here. However, it's not a bad comic. I'm enjoying this, and it's sort of making me appreciate the Captain America comics a little bit more, seeing where this goes. I think we got Wolverine when he started on the bar. Someone's trying to befriend him, and he kind of just shakes him off. And this girl or this lady, I guess, is some sort of tracker, and I don't know, it draws him out to some hideout from the faculty or something. I guess it's the people who've taken over the Weapon X program, and they're out in the States somewhere. And I think by the time they get there, the place has been already trashed, and someone else is kind of picking over the remains of that place. And then you get a little taste of Nuke. You see him kind of. I think they bring him at the end, and you get Wolverine gets introduced to what's it, David Holton. He was the Captain America or the new Captain America, I guess. And it's kind of funny how these worlds are coming together. So I appreciate that. But I'm just worried that, I think that does this have something to do with those origin boxes? The more I hear about these origin boxes that are coming over from the Ultimate Universe, the less I'm liking them. And, I think at the end, there's somebody running around with the wolves, like, a la Wolverine style. And you always think it's him until they go to his base or his body and you realize it's not him. So maybe, a Wolverine origin box has been, they experimented on somebody with it. But however, I'm interested in this story, and I like where it's going.
I don't know anything about this whole origin box stuff you're talking about. I don't read into this news as much as you do.
I think from the end of the whatchamacallit, that incursion one.
Oh, was that?
I think Miles Morales brings back some of these origin boxes.
I don't know if I read the last issue of that. I can't remember
the last issue either, but that's what I heard happens.
Okay,
I think this has something to do with all that.
I thought you were kind of alluding to news that someone was trying to tell me the other day that he's heard there's going to be some sort of spillover from the Ultimate Universe that they're going to be bringing characters. Right. Okay. So I didn't make that connection. Okay. See, then when
they don't really spell it out for you here. They may hint at it. I think they use the word origin box in here or something.
Okay, I missed that. I didn't get that reference then. The main thing I thought when I was reading this was like, has Chip Zdarsky not written Wolverine before? I really like this. I'm like, this is kind of giving me, like Wolverine, like Weapon X kind of vibes in it. Like I obviously because of
the good Wolverine comics, there's something that's been missing for a long time.
Right. So like, and then I'm like, wait, Zdarsky, fellow Canadian, has never written the Knucklehead over here. Like, I was just like, really? Like, how have I not realized? I don't think he's written him. Maybe he's written him like passing through in like something before that he's done. But I'm like, I don't know if he's ever actually written in Wolverine's story. So like, I was really digging this and the tone of it and the characterization of him. And I thought it was well done. And the fact that it's kind of dealing with like Weapon X kind of era stuff. I'm all for this. I thought it was good. I thought the art was good. Yeah, I'm really digging this. And like you said, it kind of is tying into some of the Captain America stuff. It feels like that he has going on. And then don't forget Captain America, also a weapon kind of program person, right? With the first, right? So like it all kind of tracks. Like you got a Canadian writing Canadian Wolverine here, so I dug it a lot. I was really impressed by it. I just was surprised that. I don't know if I've ever realized that I don't feel like he's written any Wolverine. It's this is a like you have to write Wolverine if you're Canadian. Like Jeff Lemire's written.
I think Marvel's given Chip Zdarsky the keys to the kingdom here, and he's going all in. At least he can choose the characters that he wants to write. It seems.
And it's like a rite of passage. You know what I mean, though? Like even Jeff Lemire has written a period of Wolverine for. He wrote the Old Man Logan series for Marvel, and. Yeah, no, that's my main takeaway is I was surprised I never thought he had written him before. So yeah, I thought it was good. Good stuff. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75, but I'm hoping for more.
I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go 4 out of 5 on this. Yeah, I can't. What is this? Like a 4-issue miniseries, I think?
Yeah, and this leads into the Avengers.
Right.
Armageddon, which now I'm getting a little more excited for that.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Gotta talk about it. Ultimate Spider-Man 24, the last issue of Ultimate Spider-Man. One of this show's favorite books of the last couple of years. Has won many of our prestigious Comic Shop Talk awards. Well, definitely one of our favorite books that we've enjoyed talking about here on this show. This was a bit of a delay. I think originally it was supposed to come out in December, and here we are in February. It's come out in the middle of Ultimate Endgame. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, like I didn't even know why this was delayed. It's not like there's freaking super things going on here that you need to stretch it out. You get the final battle between Kingpin, Mr. Negative, and Spider-Man, while his son and Black Cat are down in the basement, trying to, I don't know whatever MacGuffin they're trying to get. And I thought the battle was great between them. Mr. Negative. I don't think they realize they don't really explain how Spider-Man sort of negates Mr. Negative's powers. It's not like he breaks through. It just seems like they had no effect on him there. But I did like the battle. The art is great. And then I thought that the epilogue with Kingpin and Mr. Negative, that was surprising. I didn't see that coming. Like that whole time after Spider-Man defeated him, and the Kingpin is I'm excited for the future. I've got nothing. I'm hungry again. It's been so long since I've been hungry. And you think, okay, well, if you didn't know this series was ending, and this was continue on like a regular series, you go, okay, here we're in for some, we're in for some good times. But Mr. Negative freaking gets Kingpin to jump off the building, and then as he falls, he kind of grabs onto the ledge, grabs Mr. Negative, and both those players are off the board. The stuff that goes on with Richard and Black Cat, they're sort of fighting down there, down in the basement, and I don't know, there's some foam or some nanites or I don't know what's attacking him. They almost turn into sort of an anti-venom, and I thought that was pretty interesting. But, they just drop that on for a panel, and of course they overcome, whatever is put up against them, sort of just as Spider-Man comes down there to save the day. Richard's already kind of saved the day. And, they kind of go back to his family. Richard, they have the stuff with Norman and Peter. They kind of tie everything up. So it seems like, they're tying up all these loose ends, and you have the family standing, on the ledge triumphantly after all this. And that was okay. But, for a series that we enjoyed so much, I think a lot of the wind has been taken right out of the sails here.
I figured you may say something along those lines, because even me, I was like, I don't want to say that I was sitting there like, oh, that's it, because obviously they had to leave the fact that Spider-Man, something big's gonna probably happen with him in Ultimate Endgame, right? So he had to kind of let that part go because Hickman's not the one that's doing that. As far as this series goes, I think this was still a very, very solid ending. Like, he stuck the landing. And my favorite part about this issue in particular was how good the dialogue of the Kingpin was. Like, he is like, I just want to read like one of the pieces of dialogue he says in this. I just thought he wrote such a great Kingpin. This is his best moment, I think, in the whole time he's kind of appeared in this comic, because he really hasn't done too much, in terms of like, he's been kind of more working behind the scenes here, but he literally says, I want to make you a promise, Spider-Man, one I swear to keep. When I bury you in your son's bodies, I'll do so at unmarked graves on the opposite ends of the earth, apart forever, just like how you died. Like, I'm just like, whoa. Like, that's just like one of the things. Like, he had
great line. There's other lines there where I think Mr. Negative was, oh, do you want me to power you up, or Spider-Man was powered? Do you want me to release him so you can have a fair fight? And he's like, I don't want no fair fight. I want to crush my enemies. Yeah. This isn't about honor. This is about winning, and it's great stuff.
It's just excellent dialogue. But, listen, I get what you're saying. I was maybe expecting a bit more too, but, in terms of like what this story was, I thought, all these epilogues that they kind of had for the characters after the fact were good. This scene was crazy, like you said, with him and Mr. Negative. I even got me scared for a second. I thought his son was gonna die. Like I thought that there was a possibility that his son didn't survive this ordeal the way they set it up.
Yeah.
And then that was obviously, you know, a swerve there where there's like, oh no, he's fine. He actually, and then it kind of gave you like the hope, like, oh, there's a future for him here. But we know that not to be the case, right? So it is a shame. It is a shame knowing that unless they kind of bring this character also into the Marvel 616, which, you know, I know I've heard rumblings of some characters surviving the ordeal, which is exactly what they did with Miles Morales. But then it's just going to feel less special because all we're going to have is yet another Spider-Man in the Marvel 616, right? Where it's already crowded with Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, if there's any sort of ending I hope to this is that they just leave it up in the air. And if Hickman wants to come back to this in a year, you know, we can have a Ultimate Spider-Man 25. You know what I mean? And it could be 2 years down the road, or, you know, even if he likes to play this real time, if this does come out 2 years later, you know, his kids are a couple years older and see what's going on. But one thing I want to say, if you compare this book to, say, like Absolute Batman, you know, this is 24 issues. Basically, this has been one story all the way through.
Yeah.
And Absolute Batman, it's well, we'll talk about that when we get there, but it's just crazy how they have such a different approach to storytelling in between Absolute Batman and this Ultimate Spider-Man.
That's a good point. No, that's a good point. But that's what I mean. I think when it's all distilled down to like, it's like what this story was, what Hickman had done with this story, and the fact that he really didn't involve any of the other stuff going on. I can't ask for, like, I thought this was a solid ending. I think it's just one of those things where, like, you know, if this is what he had in mind, if this is the way that he saw fit to end it, I enjoyed his time on this book. I'm glad that it had an end. I actually don't like when I know these is superhero comics, but it's nice to get a story that ends for this character. But then again, we know it's not, because they're going to use him in Ultimate. They're using him in an Ultimate Endgame. Something else is going to happen. If I had one thing I wish that Hickman was involved in that. Like, I'm kind of disappointed that, you know, but he doesn't see, like, but there's not even any, like, they're not even alluding to that story in this at the end. Yeah. Like, it's like, right. So in a way, he's like, this is where my story, this version of my character ends here in this book. And then he's not even going to touch on that other stuff, which, you know, I just think it's too bad. It's too bad. But, you know, this is going to be a nice collection when it comes out. Like, they're already going to be coming out with paperbacks, but I'm sure they're going to put out an omnibus, a big hardcover of this. I'm definitely going to double dip and pick this up. This is one of my favorite things within comics that they've come out with the last few years. Like, it's fantastic. So, what'd you give this?
I give it a 4. It still was a satisfying end. It was a satisfying run.
What do you give the whole run?
I'd give the run a 4.25, maybe. Could even be a 4.5. Like, there are a lot of good issues in here.
I give it a 4.5 for the whole run, and I'll give this last issue a 4.25. I'd be interested to reread this as a whole chunk, though. Honestly, like, I wonder how it reads, you know, like, all together, because, like, sometimes, like, the weight of the crazy shit that they kind of dropped on you in some of these issues was crazy to wait month to month, right? So I don't know.
I don't know if it would make such a difference, because it's not like, you know, it would end on a cliffhanger and the next issue is like the next moment. The next issue would be like a week later. It's like, oh yeah, we got out of that cave, and, you know, it might be not quite as satisfying as, you know, the regular sort of, you know, the cliffhanger at the end, and then the next issue starting up, you know, where they left off.
Yeah, no, it's true. Anyways, good stuff. Say goodbye to another good book there. White Sky #1, Chris.
Yeah, I just read this because there's a lot of hype out there about this comic when it came out. For whatever reason, when it just went off the rails price wise. Everybody's looking for this, and I just want to see what it's all about. And it seems like it's you know, some dystopian world where something's taken over. And I think it's ghosts that have taken over the world or something. And it's just a father and his daughter kind of surviving out in, it looks like some kind of like New York type of place in the winter. And they're just kind of running around and trying to stay alive. I think at the end, the father gets captured by, you know, the hooligans that are still kind of living in the world. And some ghosts are chasing her daughter, and she throws out like a rig of salt, and someone's kind of trying to help her out. So it was okay, but I don't see why people are, paying $40-$50 for this #1 issue. That was all right. I'd give it a 3.75. It was an enjoyable read.
You think you're going to read more?
Yeah, I might see what's going on in this. It definitely sounds like a story that's a pitch for a TV series.
I mean, a lot of the times these Image ones are, so that's why I'm like, unless I just didn't hear, like I had heard, I don't think anything was confirmed, but at the same time, it's like for a TV series, but maybe that's what people are thinking it is going to become, right? Because I heard one of the characters in the actual story, I looked like Mel Gibson or something like that. I was reading online. Like, I don't know if this person was correct. I didn't see the artwork for it. So, but like they were saying that like some of the characters, the artist that was depicting them, he tried to make it look like actors, right? Like certain actors and stuff. So I don't know if there's any truth to that. But sometimes a lot of these Image books, that is eventually what they want is from these things, right? Is like to have them as movie pitches, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so next up you got Starship Godzilla #5, Chris.
Yeah, I've been reading this series. I've been enjoying it. I think in the last issue, one of the pilots found out the whole crew has sort of been treacherous, and they've sided with, I guess, the Empire, like the big bads in here, and then she felt betrayed by them, and then I guess here she wakes up and tries to get their explanation. And basically, they're just trying to explain to her the way of the world is, we had to work with these people or else we would be finished. This Starship Godzilla that they're flying, it's about to fall apart. They need money. They're going to be able to kind of do what they do, but they have to do this sort of one thing. And I think they have these kaiju eggs or something. And of course, the young naive pilot doesn't believe that. Believes working with the big bads isn't the right thing to do, and I think she's trying to fight against it. It's a fun independent comic with with Godzilla in there. It's just crazy how they have kind of Godzilla attached to this somehow. But like every once in a while they have a Godzilla running around and they're destroying worlds, but it's not really about Godzilla at all. So I've enjoyed reading this, and if you get a chance to read it, I think you should. I'd give it a 3.75. Great art too.
Yeah, I do like the art. Yeah, I might have to check that out. Next up, we got End of Life #1, continuing the Vertigo relaunch #1s that are coming out. I think they're putting out like one every week for the next few weeks. This is the Kyle Starks one. This was great. Steve Pugh on art. I hope that this gets some notice because Kyle Starks is writing it, and I know we really enjoy Kyle Starks stuff, and this is no exception. This was great, way better than that other issue that came out last week, Bleeding Hearts, of the other #1. There is a #1 coming out next week as well that I'm interested in checking out, but for my money, this is excellent. You should all go check this out. This is rated R, like to extreme R. Kyle Starks, the language in here is crazy. It's about a hitman who they're pulling off a heist at the start of this, and he helps kind of break into this compound with a couple of people that he knows that hired him for the job. Ends up killing a whole bunch of people, this guy. And he's excellent with firearms. He's like a crazy hitman. He's basically just mowing through everybody that's in this place. That's because it's heavily guarded. And then the crooks are kind of like, oh yeah, thank God we hired this guy. This is a piece of cake. We're gonna make all these millions of dollars. This is the biggest heist that we've ever done. And they're in this bank vault, and the guy's like, look, there's a shoebox full of diamonds, and then there's all this money. There's all this crazy stuff that they're stealing from it. Then all of a sudden he's like, hey, let's go. Some guy makes some reference about there's a raven on the wall, and he makes some reference about Edgar Allan Poe, the Raven. And the guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's like, I've never heard of that before or whatever, right? Then all of a sudden he's like, wait a second. And then he has some sort of flashback. Apparently this guy, because it's referenced, is part of this elite group of hitmen that I forgot what their name of their group is, but they all have when they're sworn in to become part of this secret cult of hitmen, elite hitmen from around the world, they all have to don an animal head of some sort, as an avatar. And his is a horse head. And then all of a sudden they cut to this flashback of this guy who's the one that's bringing him into this group. he's wearing a Raven head. He's like, oh, fuck. He's like, this is so-and-so the Ravens place. He's like, I didn't know that. And then he's like, no, one of the number one rules is you're not supposed to mess with these guys if you're within like this group. Like, I'm screwed now. Like, I'm going to basically be, persona non grata now. Like, everyone's going to be after me. And then he basically leaves this situation, kills the couple of guys that were helping his friends, and said, you need to get off, you need to get off the grid now. We're all in trouble now. Like, we're screwed. And then he calls his like contact that like supposedly helps him with his hits, like his contracts. And she's like saying the same thing. She's like, yeah, I'm going to, you're on your own. Like, I'm going to basically pretend I don't know this happened, and you go somewhere and try to hide out for a few days. And I'm going to try to figure out how to take care of this and help you out here behind the scenes, because I need to see if there's any way out of this. Meanwhile, that Raven guy finds out that he was robbing his house, and he puts out like a John Wick kind of contract on him for like all hitmen like that are going to go and kill this guy. So like, between the funny dialogue and characterization in this, and just like, Stark's dealing with like types of stories that he likes to talk about. And then the wacky part of it, like Kyle Starks also likes to throw some like wacky type of stuff in his storylines as well. He goes to hide out in this town that is his old town, like where he grew up. And he goes to visit his dad. And it seems like his dad also may have been in the business or something at one point, but like he has like a bad relationship with him, and he goes to stay with him. He's like, I haven't seen you for years. Like, what are you doing here? And where he lives, there's like a Disney kind of, they don't say Disney, but there's like a theme park that seems very Disney-like. And apparently the theme park has closed. And the guy who used to own it is like involved in all this bad shit. And he basically got canceled, and it got shut down. So then at the end of this issue, you find out like this guy is in cahoots with all the crime that's happening in this small town. This like Walt Disney type guy who's like a cartoonist that's apparently like some shitty dude. And now he's in the mix of everything that's going on in this town as well. Really, like, it was an oversized issue, a lot going on here, but again, great art from Steve Q, great character stuff, great dialogue from Kyle Starks. This is a home run first issue. Can't wait till the next one. This is like a 4.25, maybe even 4.5. That's how much I love this first issue. I thought it was excellent. So yeah, Chris, you got to check this out. I think you'll really like it. I hope people check this out too, because Kyle Starks is a really good writer. And, he definitely has like stuff that he likes writing about, but this is definitely in his wheelhouse. So I really, really enjoyed it. X-Men 25, not much to say on this. I don't even remember what happened. Oh yeah. I mean, the Tony Daniel art's really good. I'm liking that he's the artist on this series. Basically, this issue, you find out that the X-Men go up against like this group of like white supremacist mutants. Like, they're basically they call them Nazis, and like they're like mutants that are also white supremacists. So they only believe in white mutants. So like basically this whole group of white mutants is who they end up fighting in this issue. And that's basically what the focus of the issue. I mean, they're talking about other stuff that's been going on in the X books during this period of time as well, but majority of this issue is them fighting this new group that they come across. And Juggernaut is involved in he's not actually a mutant, so they call him out for not being a mutant, and like there's all this stuff going on where, again, that's basically what it is. And but really good art, some good action. I'll give it a 3.75 out of 5. I don't know, it seems like ever since that Batman annual came out, though, every comic book now has to fight Nazis in their stuff, right? Like that's like the new thing. It feels like. So I don't know. I that is interesting though. I don't know if I've ever seen a white supremacist mutant group though. Because mutants already are looked upon like not favorably. So the fact that they only include white mutants in their group is kind of crazy. Anyways, Minor Arcana number 14. Not much to say about this. This is just like things are really coming together finally in this book. Jeff Lemire, again, writing and drawing this. This has been a really great series. Again, I'll give this a 3.75 out of 5. Not too much to add on it. Just that the secrets of this town and the reason as to why things have been going on in the book are finally coming together without getting into the whole plot lines happening. Just another solid issue from Jeff Lemire, though, and I'm still really enjoying this story. So, he sometimes takes his time kind of like putting the pieces together, but you're when it comes together, it's always some interesting stuff. I can't wait. I really want that book to come back, the Phantom Road one. That was another one where I'm just like, I don't know what the hell's happening in this book, and he still kind of has left us like guessing about that one. So I really need him to come back and finish that title out. So G.I. Joe 19, Chris.
Yeah, I read this one online. I didn't get my issue, but it's good stuff. Yeah, it's the fallout of the Dreadnought War. It seems that Duke is really upset with Clutch and Hound. You know, I don't know if this is really in Duke's sort of wheelhouse there, but he's not listening to any sort of reason about what's going on, and he just wants to take down Clutch. They have some, like, there you could see, or not Clutch, this Hound. You know, he's treating all these robots as sort of one group, you know, not realizing that, you know, there's good robots and bad robots, you know, and Clutch is trying to kind of persuade him there, you know, and he kind of gives them, you know, you're arrest town. He goes, and if you're the good guy that you say you are, you'll do this with no sort of no problems, which, you know, the robot ends up doing. And, you know, they take him back to the pit. Then you get some stuff with Zartana, and he's, you know, with him still being, you know, what's that clone of Hawk? There's some kind of crazy things going there, and I think they reveal that he needs Energon to keep these disguises up. And now that he realizes where all this Energon is, because he has access to the Cobra and the Joe files, it looks like he's going to try and put things together there. So I think it was a good issue all around. It kind of moves the story along. And I think it just sets up, I guess, these Energon hunts that they're going to be doing. You know, he splits the Joes up into 3 teams. And then you also have something with this Mayhem character and Scrap Iron showing up. So, you know, a lot of stuff going on, and it just keeps you interested all the way through.
Yeah, agreed. I really don't have too much to add to what you said there. Yeah, I think you put it perfectly. It's still a really good book, and I'm really enjoying the current arc with the Transformers being a big part of it. It looks like they're going to try to get Hound into contact with Optimus Prime now. And I just think it's kind of ridiculous that Duke is so hard up on him. Even after the fact, he discovers that there's 2 factions of robots. Like, they're not all bad, but yeah, he's, you know, he can't get past the fact that, like, you know, his friend got killed. And
yeah, especially after, you know, he's sort of wreck or, you know, save the Joes there.
Right.
You know, and then they're kind of backs up against the wall. You think he'd be a bit more lenient, or at least more able to listen. You know, he wasn't listening to anything at that time. You know, you got Clutch's best friend saying, "Hey, this guy's okay. Trust me on this." And, you know, even the other Joes are kind of just piping up behind, go, "Hey, if this robot didn't show up here, I think we might have been cooked."
Right.
But he didn't want to have any of that.
Yeah, which I get to a certain point, but like at the same time, like he literally says, like, "Oh yeah, there's 2 groups of us that are at war constantly," and he's saying this as the guy who's in this military. Like, you don't understand like how that works. Like, it just seems like, I know, I get it. It's a giant talking robot, like, but. You know, it just, I think at that point you would accept that, okay, yeah, maybe this guy's telling the truth. You know, he's like, I don't care. I need to see this other robot. I don't know. It's just funny to me. I think that's really funny how that works in this storyline. He's like, he's just so done with these guys. What'd you give this?
I give it a 3.75. It could be a 4 though, but
yeah,
just not enough going on to push it up to a 4. But it's good.
I could have given it a 4, but yeah, we'll go 3.75 out of 5 as well. Exquisite Corpses number 10.
I think I finally got an issue of this stuff here.
Oh yeah, nice. I got this one. I just get the A covers, the Michael Walsh ones for these.
Yeah, the A cover here. I don't even know who this character is. He wasn't in this story here, was he?
No, he's dead already, this guy. Yeah. But I think they did like one person for each cover, like that's been around. He was what was his name? I can't remember. He was one of the guys that's like lone gunman. He's the one that his weapon is still in play that they were trying to get a hold of. Remember, like I think that's who they're referring to. Is
not the pistol, is it, or is that somebody else's?
No, do you remember the paramedic woman? She's the one that picked up his weapon.
Oh, his weapon. Okay.
Yes, because he was the guy that was ex-military as well that recognized that she was military. That's why he kind of said, "Take this gun," and now they're trying to get the weapon back so they can basically claim it as this family's the one that's winning because they have that gun. Which is the lady Carolina, that woman that's alive during the story. That's her sister is one of the people that's behind the scenes, essentially. Like that's her sister. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think the story started out great. You got the kind of just what's going on. This groundskeeper, kind of just setting the field and saying, whatever those fires are moving in. I guess it's sort of like Fortnite as that circle closes. They're just kind of just laying it out there that, nobody can escape here. We got everything all covered. While he's talking to the gameskeeper, that paramedic we've been talking about, she kind of gets the drop on him and, has a gun to the back of his head. And he kind of starts explaining things to her. He goes, look, you're going to die here. I'm not even a player here, and you're less than me. And then he just gets on his microphone, and goes, whatever, groundskeeper compromised. And a sniper just, pops him in the head. And then you can kind of hear some radio chatter, should we take out this other person? They're like, yeah, permission takeout granted. And they start trying to pop her, but, she escapes. And there's another story with, I guess it's some mother that's trapped in like some barbed wire web by a recluse. And, she's there sort of pleading for her life. And, the recluse character, isn't taking any of that. And then there's the fox that shows up.
Yeah.
And I guess they have a bit of an epic battle.
Yeah.
And I guess that recluse is dead. And fox, it seems the fox has some bad blood with this 13.
Yes.
It seems to be a bit of a rebel or rebelling against this group of 13 that's putting together this game here. And she sets that lady free, and the lady's kind of searching for her son. And I think she's, going through the field. She sees a body that's covering, I think, what she thinks is her son.
The art was not good in that scene. Like, it was very confusing to tell, like, what was going on. Because the body was like covering what seemed like her kid, but then the way that it was drawn, it made it look like it was standing beside the kid. It was not well done, I thought, that scene.
And then the kid she refers to as Jason, and then later on in the story, there's one of the characters has a Jason in his van, so maybe that's the kid. So the kid might be alive, but then I don't know why she's bawling her eyes out. Like, if there was a body underneath her, I don't know what that was about, but I'm under the impression that the kid is still alive and that Jason is out there. And then you got that bunny rabbit guy. He shows up there, causing havoc. And what did he do? Doesn't he like dump some like air conditioner unit on somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And then of course, there's the machinations going on inside the house with that lady kind of talking to her sister out on the phone, telling her to get some, to get one of those special weapons. So you won't win for yourself, you'll win for whoever has that special weapon or whoever state that special weapon belongs to. And I think she's not really up for it, but she's looking for another weapon from somebody else that, maybe she might have more favorable results if she were to win with that weapon. But it's good stuff all around. It's still a fun story, and it just keeps on. It's still interesting after. I don't want to say it's the same template for every issue, but where things are going, but it still keeps coming back.
My only complaint is like what I was alluding to with that other scene. It goes the same for this dropping the air conditioner unit on it. Again, it's like in the foreground and not really covering the head, but then it shows that it's squishing the head. It's like, I don't know, it's like the artist had like depth perception issues or something, like the way that like, I don't know if they're like, like
the thing should have been right on his head and just see his chest coming out.
Right. So I don't know.
Have his head sticking out the side.
I don't know if this is like a newer art. Like, it looks great in other parts, but then there's certain scenes in terms of the storytelling where I just didn't think that they hit the mark, right? And I don't think that's the Michael Walsh pages, because I really like Michael Walsh. Maybe it was. I don't know, because I don't think this is him here. It kind of looks like him up top, actually. I don't know. I think it's this other artist, though. I'm not familiar with this other artist that did this issue, this Mariana Ignazi. Looked good in some spots, but then others not so much, I thought. I don't know. But the story is still a lot of fun, and 2 more issues to go, supposedly, in this storyline. And I hope we get more and we don't have to wait that long, because I
think they do make some allusions to, we got to get ready for the next game, whether it's next year or
Right.
or 2 years from now. But I think they're
Well,
as successful as it is. I imagine it's going to be an
yeah.
exclusive corpses too.
Well, Chris, get your votes in. Who are you going for? Who's left? This woman, who's the Lady Carolina. We got Pretty Boy, who's still in the mix with the messed up face. If you remember, he's got the scarred face. You got Rascal Randy, your boy there, or Fox Mask Killer. I honestly am going with Fox Mask Killer because I think she's a favorite.
Yeah, I think it's the Fox Mask Killer.
Okay.
But is Rascal Randy the rabbit?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he's.
No, I think it's going to probably.
I think it might be down to her. This one here.
Exactly.
And sort of the one that's right down with the 13 versus the Rebel 13 that might be trying to end this game, from the inside somehow.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be that woman that was on the last page and the Fox Mask Killer at the end, because she seems to be an important piece in all this, because she's trying to play for another family currently. And the person who called her in this issue was her sister that works for that, like those people that are controlling the games. Right. Yeah. So I think there's going to be it's going to have a big part to play in these last couple of issues here. So what'd you give this?
I'll give it a 4. I really like this series. I look forward to it every time.
Same. Yeah. Agreed. 4 out of 5. Powers 25, number 6. I got this.
We're finally getting some answers here in this comic.
I got this cover here, the Stan Sakai. It's got Usagi Yojimbo on the ground there dead. And what does he say? Too bad, buddy boy. He's like, well, he had a good run. So that's why I got this variant cover. I usually don't buy this in issues, but yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, I think it was a good issue. You finally, I think I'm kind of getting a grip on this world maybe, but you kind of get some answers as to what's actually been happening, who's dying, what this portal is all about. I think you have some scenes there. Is that Legacy Star and talk? I don't know who he's talking with, but he's basically trying to say, we're gonna, develop this portal technology, and it's gonna change the world. And the other guy is like, I don't think nobody wants portal technology. They're talking about these Powers Act, and this other guy saying, none of this stuff matters once this portal technology is out there.
Right.
The world's gonna change. It's gonna kind of be good for everybody, and this. Whatever this pocket dimension that whatever the new partner he's stuck in, he's kind of trying to explain his way out of here, and it turns out that this magic user kind of picked the wrong person, and he's like, oh, I'm your neighbor. He's like, oh fuck, whatever, and he kind of pulls in that, what's her name, Deanna Grimm or Deanna Powers?
Dina Pilgrim.
Dina Pilgrim, that's it. And he kind of pulls her in, and then she just starts flipping out on there. And is like, take me back home. We get us out of here. We'll talk about it when they're out there. And it seems like that those scientists are trying to frame her for this murder, because it seems like she's the source of these portals.
Yes. But
what she uses for the portals is controlled by those scientists. So she's not really doing this. And then you have that I think that Legacy Star, with his lawyer, and his lawyer seems to be a Powers character, and the people there that he's talking with, they're not taking any of his guff. So there's a lot of good stuff going on here, and I think the story sort of moved along. I think they do show some scenes of the poker game, and maybe what happened during that poker game, which has sort of been a key element here. So I think at the end, that one guy was going to just take off because I don't want to be part of this, or, this is what I came for. You guys want to play poker. And then, the other guy pulls out the badge of that Dina Pilgrim, and that's to bring him back to the table. So it's good stuff all around.
Yeah, I just always enjoy it because, like, the scope, like the actual crime itself isn't like a big homicide, but through the scope of it being in a world of superpowered people, like there's all these like kind of interesting avenues that they can go down. Like this issue is just so weird because, like you said, half of it was spent in that pocket dimension of hers, and meanwhile the whole reason that she brought them there is because she's trying to prove that she has got nothing to do with this murder, because they know that it's going to go back to her because of the fact that it's her, they're using her ability, which like you said, he's obviously using it for not for good, right? So yeah, I mean, it's interesting kind of seeing the case kind of get pieced together in this way, which has always been like the the interesting thing about this series is that it's a homicide detective story with superpowered people around, right? It's just kind of interesting in itself. So, yeah, good issue. I did like it. And I was a little confused at first on what the hell was going on in this one. I'm not gonna lie, but then I kind of got brought back around to. I understood by the end of it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what's going on here.
Yeah, the only downside of that, just by the characters, I can't really tell who's who, unless whenever they're talking to each other, they call each other by name and every panel, or every time they move away from and they move back. But I enjoyed this one. I give it a 4.
Yeah, same. It's good stuff. Absolute Batman number 17. The A cover.
Yeah, I got the A cover as well. There's a lot of nice covers for this, but
yeah.
The man alive, the stuff they're doing in this Absolute Batman, especially in this issue, they touch on so many things here. There is like so much going on. Never mind, the introduction of Poison Ivy and what she is, and whatever Scott Snyder's doing to all these villains. They're like, can't there just be a normal villain? Like everybody's just like nightmares. Like you figure you have that Joker stuff going on. It's not like I don't know what the heck is. He turns into some freaking rabid mutant monster, and it seems to be the same thing with this Poison Ivy. She is just right off the rails, and besides that, there's a lot of stuff going on here with Bruce trying to reach out to all his friends, and they're all giving him the cold shoulder after what happened. Wayland, he's still like lost in the sewers. I think Batman might have a key to try and help him, from the last issue. I think they touch on a Robin in this one here. And then they touch on Bruce Wayne's mom is dating Gordon, Jim Gordon, and then I guess his daughter is in the GCPD, and he's with Batman, or she's with Batman when he's, I guess, fighting through whatever this area of the city that's been locked down because of these spores. And I don't know, there's just great stuff going on here. I don't know how long they can keep this up for, but these stories should be good, because I was thinking, like, Scott Snyder has, whatever, 60 years of great Batman stories to draw upon, and he's putting them all in like 15 issues. The Court Owls even show up in this.
Yes.
And you find out that Bruce's mother is part of the Court of Owls. Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like everything is just bonkers here. And, the way Scott Snyder has taken all these stories and just matching them up and putting them all in one, and just kind of dropping one after another. Like, there's no filler here. After those first 6 issues that were basically filler, this has been all gas.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I think anybody who doesn't like this series for whatever reason, they can't say that it's because he's not giving you enough, because he's really giving you it all here, and he's not holding back. And even in terms of writing for the arc that so many of these series do, I agree with you. Past that first initial arc, he's really been kind of, throwing so many things into the universe and the mythos of this character, reestablishing a whole brand new version of Batman. And he's got so many balls in the air.
This wasn't Nick Dragotta either. This is a guest artist.
This is Eric Canetti. Yeah, this is.
I thought it was great. Like, especially for an issue this big, you think you'd want Dragotta on this. We get the guest artist. We'll just put in some baloney issue till we get Nick back. But no way, all gas.
Good stuff. What'd you give this?
I got a 4.25.
Agreed. Yeah, it's another solid issue. Whenever people ask me about this series, they're like, "Oh, is it really like?" Because some people are doubtful about the hype that it gets. Is it good? And I'm always like, "Yeah, it is really good, and it deserves the hype. Maybe not to the degree that it is getting, but it's a book that the hype that it's getting is based on the fact that it is a good book. It is a good book. I tell people that all the time, because I feel like sometimes when something gets this much fucking hype in comics, it's just people sometimes, like it's not genuine. But that's why I think some people are doubtful. Like, is it really good? I'm like, yeah, it's a good book. Honestly, check it out.
You're almost getting overhyped, like overstimulated. You freaking drop Catwoman in one. It's like these last 6 issues. Catwoman's dropped, Joker's dropped, and freaking now Ivy's dropped. I think Quinn was dropped. Like, there's just so much freaking being dropped on you all the time.
Yeah,
you almost want to tell him, hey, slow down here. That's like he's it's almost like they're planning to end this in 24 issues, and he just wants to get everything in, which I hope is not the case.
No.
Like, what's he gonna write down in 50 issues? He's gonna have everybody freaking.
He has
everything. Every story is gonna be done by then.
He has stated that he has a plan for at least through 50 issues of the series at this point. Like, this is what he said.
Yeah,
so
hope so.
Wonder Woman 30.
Yeah. Now this is whatever an issue that's been. This is like a little two-parter, written by a different writer, different artist. I don't care for it too much. And bring back Tom King and Daniel Sampere and start these Wonder Wars. I think it's just the fallout of these, whatever, Diana leaves her baby with all the Wonder people, and whoever that purple person was sort of uses all their fears against them, and then Wonder Woman shows up, and all those fears aren't our weaknesses. Those fears are what make us strong. Yeah, okay, I've heard these stories before, and and they all overcome them, and yeah, great, let's go. Let's get to the meat of the story again.
Yeah, you said it, Chris. I didn't really care for this little two-parter. It was fine. Like, it got us from point A to point B. Let's get these wars on already. Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, there's some, the art was fine, the story was fine, but it wasn't anything I was that interested in. And,
like this Yara Flora, like, wasn't she like the big thing a few years ago? And like, she's just been kind of relegated to like I feel like, if you follow WWE, it was like a main eventer that's now like a freaking opening the show or like a C-lister.
Like, when they do these little two-parters sometimes, especially to give the creative team some more time or whatever, and it's, that it's a filler, this just felt like that, a filler. Like, like sometimes they kind of really take the opportunity to like bring something interesting to the table. Yeah, that was not the case here. This is a filler two-part story. So anyways, what'd you give it?
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, I'll go 3.5. I mean, if we're going on my interest level, I'd give it like 3.25, quite frankly. But there was nothing inherently bad. There's nothing bad about it. It's just like, I just whatever. This was interesting this week. Batman Superman World's Finest number 48.
This was interesting. Like,
wow.
I thought this issue was great. Like, I haven't really been around Owlman, and is Superman called Superman, or is this Ultraman or something? I don't know what
it's Earth 3. It's basically the Earth 3 versions of these characters.
Yeah, I thought I had read some Earth 3 stuff before, but it didn't hit me like this one did. This was just freaking great. Seeing, like Superman is like, he is like super bad in here. Freaking, I don't know why they call him Owlman, but whatever. Once you get over that name, but just this history here where, like, doesn't he? What did he do there? Like, he's the one that hired the person to kill his parents, right?
He arranged somebody to kill his parents so he would get his inheritance early, and then he was going to give them a cut of it.
Yeah, and then just like that was just so evil, and
yeah, I was surprised Mark Waid wrote this. I'm quite frankly, I was surprised Mark Waid. I was like, whoa, I've never seen Mark Waid go this dark in this story. Yeah. I was like, what the hell?
And then, like, they're talking about some boxes too, with, I think these guys are trying to chase down what's in the boxes. And I'm like, oh man, don't tell me they're doing freaking some of these origin boxes or try to use that same sort of thing. But then when they do open the box at the end, and I'm happy that they opened the box. You got freaking Superman and Batman, the main universe guys, and they're freaking like strapped up and they're like prisoners. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? I love the world that they were in. I love this some good DC Mark Waid World's Finest stuff. This is what World's Finest should be.
I agree with you. It was excellent. I can't wait for the next issue. I loved how he went and they killed the Doom Patrol and they gave them all of the Flash Rogues weapons and their hands are attached to them. So they're like, how do I know these are legit? He's like, I don't know. You tell me. And they open up the box and it's all. I was like, oh my god! Like there was shocking moments in this. Like this is like he dialed the evilness of the characters up to 11 in this story.
Like, this would be a Black Label series, and I'd be all over this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost being wasted in a World's Finest story,
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, guys, if you haven't been reading this series, you don't need to have been reading this series. Check out this issue. Like, pick this up. I think that this is 48. I think this is just going to be a two-parter because I think with issue 50, they're going to do something else, most likely. But if this is like a nice little two-parter, pick this up. Like I might pick up this issue, and I jumped off the series like I don't know how long ago. I just read this digitally. Good stuff. I really enjoyed this issue a lot. And and then they go to see the Metal Men, and it's clear that the creator of the Metal Men is banging one of them. Like he's like talking about having sex with it. Like it's weird. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very clear. It's like alluded to. You know what I mean? Like because he's like, oh yeah, I can create you any way I want. I'm just like, what is going on in this?
Yeah,
This was a surprise.
There should have been like a 6-series block label. I might not have bought it, but I'm ready for more of this world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good stuff.
Especially they put these two Supermen or these two evil, Superman and Owlman, and just kind of put them through their paces in this world, and just basically killing everybody. But you never know who they can face. But anyways, yeah, how it goes.
What'd you give this?
I got a 4.25. This is great.
Yeah, I could almost go to 4.5. That's how much I enjoyed this.
You won't have to push my arm for that.
Yeah. Daredevil, Punisher, The Devil's Trigger, number 4.
Okay, now we're moving along in this story finally. None of this with these two guys always kind of being at each other's ends, trying to prove their ways the right way. I think it starts out great with Daredevil or the Punisher just blowing up some arms depot for somebody. It's always fun to watch. I do like him with his white boots and his white gloves and the trench coat. And then it moves on to the story. It sounds like Daredevil has got Misty May. No, is it Misty May? Is that her name?
Misty Knight.
Misty Knight.
Yeah.
Who's Misty May? Anyway, Misty Knight to arrange sort of a meeting between Daredevil and Punisher. And of course, as Daredevil finds out, when I don't know where he met this girl. Wasn't it just kind of like down the street? But it seems to be a nice interaction for Daredevil. Wouldn't complain about that. But of course, he gets called away for this meeting, and surprisingly, this meeting goes well between them.
Yeah.
I thought, of course, they're gonna start fighting each other. Daredevil, I guess, using his lawyer skills, kind of just lays out the plan to him, and he does have this information that he kind of holds over Punisher to get him to kind of just play by the rules a bit. And of course, you have these two characters that have been hired by, I guess it's the architect, I think as that's what they name him by the end, to come down here. I do like Punisher goes, fuck, I only brought a knife to a gunfight. But they do freaking beat the crap out of those ones. And, you have Daredevil complaining about killing people. I got Punisher putting a knife in some guy's chest. And the panel beside it, Daredevil's got his billy club going through the guy's eye.
Yeah.
Daredevil can't really complain too much. It's not like he's just, knocking these guys out with enough force just so they're unconscious. He's putting some life-changing injuries on these people.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the same thing.
But it was nice to see them working together. And I guess the big spoiler at the end is that there's some judge out there that is the father of this, or the husband of this Ganucci family.
Yeah.
The one that the Punisher wiped out at the beginning. So we'll see where this goes. I did enjoy this sort of turn of events, and it's not so much, Daredevil and Punisher's ideals clashing.
I agree. I think this was a good issue. I've liked this series overall. I think next issue might be the last one, which is fine. I mean, it looks like they're getting towards a wrap up here. My one, again, criticism of this though is that I just wish they had a superstar artist drawing this book. Like the art's fine. They got 2 different artists on it. It's fine, but it could be better. Like I like, it's like, I'm not, it's not taking me out of the story. I'm not like, oh, this is awful. But I see the potential if we had a really good artist drawing this story, right? I think it would just make it that much better. But I'm not mad at it. I think it's fine. But good story though, and I've been liking all these miniseries that they've been doing of the Punisher. Honestly, this has been quite good as well. So, what'd you give this?
Yeah, I give this a 4.
Same. Yeah. This is probably the best issue of the miniseries so far.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah. Fantastic Four number 8.
Oop.
Yeah, I didn't get this. It's a good cover though.
It's a nice cover though.
Yeah, I did get the Joshua Swaby cover though. that's going to be doing for issue 9, I think it is. That's a nice cover too with her on it. Like I don't know if you've checked that one out, but that's one worth picking up.
Yeah, after reading this is when the first time I've realized that this is the Invincible Woman art.
Yeah.
I always thought, I just kind of glanced at it. It's invincible, invisible. And since I was focused on Sue Storm, I thought it was just, the Invisible Woman Part 3, and everything was focused. But this one really nailed it, that it is the Invincible Woman. And it sort of starts out with a Sue Storm. You don't kind of realize, where they are, or kind of, you think, you don't know if this is a flashback or something when she first got her powers. But then things go off the rails pretty quickly. You realize here she realizes, I guess, a lot sooner than her normal counterpart that she has more than the ability to turn invisible. She has the ability to control not just light or bending light. She can bend waves, and it turns out to be some Omega level type power.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, you see her having this dream where she's fighting off all these people. And, and we can just kind of wipes them out. And this kind of shows you exactly how powerful she is. Then she wakes up, and, she kind of looks out her window, her neighborhood is quiet. Okay, I thought, okay, maybe she took out her neighborhood. She took out her city. But you find out she took out the whole world.
Yeah.
Except for, Johnny Storm, because he was able to protect himself from the cold, from the heat somehow. And, you kind of just see her kind of roaming through the world for a bit. And then she realizes, she feels bad about what she did. And then, instead of looking for any sort of redemption, she realizes, since I'm the only person there, she gets Johnny Storm to lobotomize herself. She kind of bends the light and makes herself invisible to get Johnny to fry her brain. And then after that, she seems to be just pretty much okay with everything.
Because she doesn't have empathy. She has no empathy afterwards. Yeah. She doesn't care anymore. She's happy, and she's demented after she does that. It's very strange.
I don't know where this Malice character came from. If this is actually the history of Malice and it's never been explained. But I was down for this comic there, and then it seems like she's fighting Galactus out there. She had some some top tier powers here, and I'm all for it. And then I guess we do catch up with the 616 Fantastic Four, and they're talking to Galactus. You never see Galactus freaking lying there in the fetal position, and they're like, "Hey, what the heck happened here? What's going on?" And we're gonna find out here. So hopefully the next issue we're gonna have some sort of confrontation here and see what's happening. But I'm down for this story they got going on. They got great covers, and the story's keeping up.
Absolutely. This is a great issue, a great origin story. Whether or not, like you said, I'm not sure, because I know she existed before. I don't know if this is a retelling of the origin, or if this is what the origin was. That I'm not sure of. All I can say is that we read so many of these types of origin stories in comics that they usually fail to hit the mark in terms of my interest on them, because there's so many. We've just seen so many of them. This was great. Again, and on the same level of how demented the character was, almost like when we just talked about Batman, Superman, how dark and weird that one was. This is in the same vein, I would say, of this
and a character you'd never expect it to be, Sue Storm.
Yeah, they really set the stage for her showing up at the end of this, where you're just oh shit, this is that character now, right? Excellent issue, very good, very good. What'd you give this?
Once again, I'm going to give a 4.25, but you could twist my arm to 4.5 on this one, especially
yeah, same. Agreed. Yeah, I could also go that high on this one too. It's a good week of comics. There's a lot of comics, but a lot of contenders as well, honestly. New Avengers #9.
And this was just a fun comic. I don't want, maybe not a fun comic, but this is a comic book story comic. We got these those doppelgangers of the Killuminati, and Black Widow she's been chasing herself, so there's not a clone of her. There's almost multiple personalities that she's kind of aware of, and she's trying to explain this to the group. You have Carnage. He's just sort of waiting for his time to strike to eat them all. So it's just a lot of fun issues. I'm glad not every comic is like this, but I'm enjoying this comic and this tone and everything that's going on here.
I agreed, and I love the dialogue for this character, the Iron Man. But he calls everybody bro, and like, just like he kills that Jackal clone because he doesn't want to like fix his face, and then he shows up at that conference with like half his face bandaged, and he just tells them all off and leaves. He's like, "Oh, you're just all a bunch of idiots. Goodbye." Like, yes, I am Tony Stark. Just the dialogue.
Like, this is where they kind of, where Marvel's making fun of themselves. They have like with that Tony Stark character, that I am bro, or Aaron Apex, and he's like just with his bro talk, and it's you just kind of make him the billionaire douche that everybody's calling him, but he can be the bad guy.
Yeah, it's just very funny, the dialogue of that character. I'm like, this guy's hilarious. Like, I think this is ending with the next issue, which is I'm perfectly fine with, but I really wish there was a world where we can get this character back.
Oh yeah, I hope these characters are popular enough to sort of live on. Maybe get just put them off the table for a while. But I'd love to see this Iron Apex, show up an Iron Man comic, or even this Illuminati sort of somehow end up in an Iron Man comic, just so Tony can see like a reflection of himself that he may not see.
And like you said, like it's been a lot of fun, this storyline. And I think one of my favorite parts was that Carnage moment in this, where the Black Widow, who's basically fighting against something in her head that's telling and doing things behind her back otherwise, says, does anybody know what that's like? And like Carnage, who's literally sitting there battling his inner thoughts, is like, yes, I do. He's like, now let's go get these guys. Like, I liked that. I was like, oh, they're actually giving Carnage a redemption, like in terms of like this moment a little bit, even though he's a mass murderer, you know what I mean? Like he's like of a character. So I liked it. I thought it was interesting. So what'd you give this?
Yeah, talking about this, I'm gonna pop this up to a 4.
Same. Yeah, 4 out of 5. Good stuff. Captain America number 7.
Ooh. There we go. Captain America number 7. I guess this is setting up. This might be setting up the whole Avengers Armageddon. I think this might be based around Red Hulk, from what I understand. But it's got Red Hulk or whatever his name, the General Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt Ross is the Red Hulk. He's there in Latveria trying to kind of take everything, or take what's left for the U.S. government. And Captain America is there as part of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're sort of like a covert operation to go in, I guess, with the way things are going on in the world. They don't want the U.S. to kind of come in there, and just sort of attack. So he kind of has to hold off for now. But he does threaten Captain America and the S.H.I.E.L.D. He goes, hey, I'm a Hulk now, and if I go off the rails, I don't think there's not much you can do, and he doesn't have much respect, I guess, for the S.H.I.E.L.D. But once that's all sort of done, I guess the Red Hulk stands down, and Captain America goes into the town and sort of covertly just trying to figure out who's who and what's what. You have these 3 fractions that are sort of fighting for the people, or for the freedom or the power that's left in Latveria, and you still don't really know who's who. And one team that seems to be good may not be so good. The other team, or this other faction, is being led by one of his friends, that was referenced earlier, and they don't seem to be too concerned about collateral damage, thinking that the greater good is more important in the end. And then there seems to be sort of the power of the people, but she ends up it ends up being revealed that she's the daughter of Dr. Doom, which of course would make anybody uneasy. So I'm enjoying this storyline here. And like I said, there's been a lot more enthusiasm now that this Captain America storyline is a bigger part of sort of the Marvel world, or the Marvel universe, the 616 in general. It's not just some little pocket story off on the side that once this arc is done, nobody's going to care about it anymore.
Yeah, agreed. And it definitely seems like Zdarsky's going to have a big hand in all this kind of stuff that's happening in Marvel for the summer event and everything else. So yeah, this is an interesting story that's leading to something interesting, it seems like, so far. And Yeah, I think this fallout of the Doom stuff has been a lot of fun, like to see kind of how it's affected all these characters and things within the Marvel universe. This is one of the few times where I think that they had actually so many things to build off of the climax of a series, like of an event. Honestly, like usually if they don't go anywhere with it, even they're like, oh, everything's gonna change. This is gonna mean big things for the Marvel universe, and then like it honestly doesn't a lot of the time. But this seems like they're really, taking advantage of this storyline here, like and like what it kind of could mean for like these characters. So yeah, it's good stuff. What'd you give this?
I give it 3.75. It's good stuff, but it's still not great yet.
Yep, I agree. 3.75 out of 5. And yeah, speaking of all the Doom stuff, Dungeons of Doom #2.
Yeah, it sounds like this takes place before all this stuff, because I think in that Captain America they referenced that these dungeons have been sort of robbed or all been
Raided.
picked clean, raided. Yeah, but this just seems like a horror story. You have the 3 groups down there. What do you have? Who's down there? You have the Hydra. And I don't know who runs into what, but each group runs into freaking trouble. I think Hydra runs into that big sword or something that one person can pick up, and the other guy's like, "Hey, I found that sword I wanted." He's like, "Nah, don't worry, I got the power now." He ends up dying, and then the other guy still can't pick up the sword, so it almost has that sort of Thor call quality to him. And isn't it like, I think there's a group of Americans down there, and then maybe the Latvian freedom fighters, and they all run into freaking just, what was that one thing? There's that somebody or Doom had something. There's some person hanging there with the mouth sewn shut.
Yeah.
And then they come down, oh, what the heck is this? We got to free this guy. And they free this person. And it seems like some sort of freaking demon that's just taking them all out.
There's like an entity inside of it, like an evil entity. That's the thing. Like, there's a reason why he has all this stuff down there. Clearly, it's like stuff that maybe he wants to utilize for his own good. But then other things is just like evil artifacts that, like,
maybe just waiting to use that just might not be ready. But once lesser people kind of come down there, like, when you see that guy with the mouth sewn shut, like, what the heck is this? Of course, you got to help this person out. But then when you do, it's like, that's like some avatar for some. Whenever it says something, it's, freaking just chaos ensues. Yeah. I thought it was a fun read. And once again, this has been surprising, with the way that whatever the rule of doom, whatever played out.
Yeah.
Once again, everything that's come after has been so much better than what got there.
Yeah, this has been great, but you hit the nail on the head when you said that this is basically a horror anthology that's taking place in the Marvel universe within the Dungeons of Doom. Yeah. And we got one more issue to go, but they've really just been telling like 3 or 4 separate stories of people like going around the dungeons here. But in this issue, we basically see how it screws over everybody in this story. Like, everybody kind of comes across something that they should have just left alone. Yeah. And then they don't, and then something bad happens to them. So
all looking for power, and just bad things happen. Like, this could be, like I said, this could be like a freaking whatever that coin or the creep show anthology, and they're all tied together. That they're all roaming around in Doom's dungeon.
And I noticed one of the writers of these stories in this one is Philip Kennedy Johnson. I think that's kind of what he's been excelling at, honestly. I think like mixing the horror elements with the Marvel Universe stuff is what I think he does best, honestly. Because like between this and the Hulk stuff that we've been getting from him lately, it's kind of working for him, which I don't always think that horror is something that mixes well, especially with the Marvel Universe. But they found an angle, it seems like, between these books that works really well. So good stuff. Yeah, I liked this as well. What'd you give this?
After talking about it, I might have to pump this up to a 4.
Yeah, in concept alone, it does deserve that rating. Yeah. I think I'll join you, a 4 out of 5. Yeah, very interesting.
And kind of they keep it hidden too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know. Wolverine 16.
Not everything can be a hit. But these Kenosha covers are a hit.
They are great.
I think I got that next one too.
Yeah.
With the Wolverine face.
Yeah.
But once again, this is freaking some baloney freaking Alpha Flight story where, the last issue, they're all freaking hardened soldiers of the government. And then, of course, in this issue, all of a sudden, they all go, the Alpha Flight has a heart. Oh, I can't do that. We might be under, or was that Puck and Marina? We might be under lock and key, but we can't let you, torture these these mutants out of, for no reason. But of course, we'll hunt you down. That's no problem at all. And
Right.
even that Vindicator, I don't know who's ever freaking ruling or leading these people there. This Vindicator seems to be the most loyal soldier. And, she even drops the line to her. It's like, hey, you really enjoyed that battle suit. You better toe the line, or we can, get rid of that battle suit pretty quickly. And, the way Silver Sable took out, and that's fun comic stuff. This time you're chasing me. I know you're coming. And, I don't know how she can watch that battle suit and analyze that there's a pinhole in that force field that the Vindicator has. But either way, that was fun to do. And of course, you have Wolverine. You have to fight through that heart attack, whatever buzzer that the Canadian leader had.
That's interesting. I actually like that as an idea. Like, though,
I think it was wasted on this story. Like, that's something you should have stayed down the road. When there's like some some A-level villain that's trying to take out the X-Men. Hey, this is what I got.
Yeah. No, I liked that. I thought that was interesting that they kind of created a device that continuously gives him heart attacks, essentially.
And at the end, they just decide, okay, we're out of here. This is too crazy for us. But you can come back here when you're fully trooped, but we're not going to be here. But anyways, and then I guess it leads into the next story. Is that there's some sort of freaking King Omega going on in the backwoods of Canada. Yeah, nothing. I wanted more. I wanted more with Alpha Flight.
I agree. The Alpha Flight part is a bit of a letdown. Like, this isn't good representation of those characters. And like you mentioned, in the same week that we get the Chip Zdarsky Weapons of Armageddon Wolverine series, and then that stupid Adamantine showed back up. I don't know. It's in the form of a knight now. I didn't even know that because we jumped off of that story, so I didn't know that.
Looking for Wolverine.
Yeah. So I care less about that. There's some interesting ideas in this, and I did like Mike Henderson on art, but as a whole, it's still not hitting the mark. I agree. It's not that great.
Entire story.
There's some good things happening. There's like you said, the Panosian covers, but I'm not there 100%. And especially in a week when we get the Zdarsky one, it's just way better Wolverine story this week than.
Yeah, like I remember back in the day, when it was Vindicator and Alpha Flight coming to get Wolverine. And basically they wanted to take him because, hey, you're our property. We want you to fight for us. We're doing good stuff. Wolverine's, of course, I don't want that. I could see both of them coming out there. But, you got these guys hunting, freaking wayward mutants out in the freaking wilderness. It's whatever. Get out of here.
What'd you give it?
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5. I like the characters. I like the cover, but I don't know, man. We got to find some new writers.
Agreed. 3.5 out of 5. Well, maybe Zdarsky will take over. You never know. That'd be nice. Amazing Spider-Man 22, our last book here of the night. Yeah, got the A cover for this one.
Yeah, not a bad cover.
No, I dig it. I was also surprised to see some Nick Bradshaw pages on this. There was he kind of was one of the couple of artists on here. Him and Todd Knock drew this one.
What the heck is going on in Spider-Man? Like, how did he? I had to go back to the last Hellgate issue to find out how Spider-Man got there. I thought there was going to be some big confrontation with Hellgate that I missed, and I didn't miss it. Basically, Spider-Man. I think the last time he was fighting Hellgate, he had a couple licks in, but Hellgate kind of came through, and then this freaking crew showed up with their spaceship. Basically, they take Spider-Man and they got through some Stargate. So Hellgate is still out there. He didn't beat them. And I imagine this Hellgate can travel through universes or across time, whatever, quite easily. So I still don't know how he escaped them. But anyways, or why he's so happy that he's here. Like, wouldn't Hellgate just be freaking on his way and this guy should be getting ready? But anyways, besides that point, I don't know what's going on here. He lands, he comes back home. He's got his ragtag crew of his girlfriend there and that Slimy or whatever they call him, Simbi. And I wonder what's going on here. He goes home and he sees a letter from Ben Riley and he gets all pissed off at him. Hey, you know what Ben Riley tried. He goes, look, and I love the reason I'm liking Ben Riley more and more with this stuff now. You know,
He's like,
because I tried to it freaking sucked. I enjoyed working for you, but then I realized, hey, I'm not even getting credit for this. You are. So
yeah,
I just did. And you know what? And Peter Parker's upset about that. I can understand he's upset, but he's coming to blows about this. And you know, he's like, "What did you do to Aunt May?" I didn't do anything to Aunt May. You know, and then you find out, you know, whatever happened to Aunt May. You know, I did like the one scene, you know, where Aunt May and Peter, you know, oh, he's holding hands. Oh, I'm sorry, I was gone, and then she's
and
like,
she
"Oh, this is
knew
my
it was
Peter."
him again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's my guy. I'm glad you're back. You know, I don't know what happened, but you know, this is the guy I've been missing. That's the only part that touched me. You know, I go, oh,
yes,
so
yeah.
happy for that. But you know, even like Aunt May, she's moved out of her house. She's living with some freaking Lothario there, and and then freaking the stuff with Norman Osborn. I have no idea what's going on with there. This was just I was looking to so much forward to so much more with his return, and it was nothing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. I will admit that. I mean, we largely. I mean, I've quite enjoyed stuff that's happened prior to this, and I feel like they've been making it work. This weird storyline for Spider-Man for
Yeah,
the most part, but this is where I think the wheels have finally started to come off here. Yeah, I think that's what we're witnessing here. And they really we just got to kind of jump forward past through the next couple of issues to hopefully get to a better place with him being back finally, because and the whole explanation and fallout and kind of realization that he's back and how this affected all the characters, just not well done. I agree with you. I agree.
Whatever the cliffhanger is just adding, it's just basically an ad for the next series or whatever, the next event.
Yeah.
Which it better be freaking good. Because basically they dropped all these storylines out of the blue that were pretty decent storylines.
Right.
And they just freaking killed them like he's out there in space. I enjoyed the time in space.
Yeah.
And then I found a freaking Stargate. I'm gonna fly through that. And we gotta take care of my stuff. So I imagine we're gonna see this Hellgate down the road. But who knows? Garbage.
But yes, I did like the end with Aunt May. I did like that. So but yeah, you're right. The Ben Riley stuff was funny. I also like how they're talking about him and his girl there about how they're like, all right, let's get a new place. I need a room all for my masks. Just and he's sitting there in his tiny whiteies. I'm like, what's going on here? That stuff was random. I did enjoy that part, but yeah. But you're right. He's like, you're a bum. I don't want to do your stuff anymore. Got my own stuff going on. Anyways, what'd you give this?
I'll give it 3.75, but it's not because of the Peter Parker stuff, the Spider-Man stuff. It's because of everything else that happened.
I agree. Yeah, still 3.75. All right, that's going to do it for this week of comics. Chris, what are you looking forward to checking out next week, February 25th?
Give me a second.
Yeah.
This was a pretty heavy Marvel week, though. I got to say that much.
It was. Yeah, a lot of good books, though.
And I got my solicitations coming out, or not solicit, my pull list for, was it March? No, for April. Even though all these Marvel books suck, I still got a ton of them coming. They're freaking double shifting. I think they're double shifting Spider-Man, double shifting Venom. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I want to see what's going on with Iron Man. Fantastic Four still going, so they hate it. It's still twice of what I get out of DC and the Image combined. But anyways, for February 25th, out of Marvel, I'll probably be reading Ultimates 21. I'm glad I dropped that. I think I got Iron Man 2, Infernal Hulk. I might jump on this I guess we'll talk about it for these April solicitations. I think I got Punisher 1, be reading Mortal Thor, Spider-Man Wolverine 10. I think that might be it for that, so I'm looking forward to that. And I guess we'll find out. Maybe I should wait till we read this Amazing Spider-Man Venom Death Spiral before I buy. I'm all in anyways, whatever. Maybe read Rogue 2. Maybe Psylocke. I'll read Inglorious X-Force 2. And I think that might be it for Marvel. So we got the cooking for DC. Absolute Wonder Woman 17. I think Detective, Superman 35. I think there's some nice covers coming up for Harley Quinn sooner or later. Maybe might have to jump back in to get some of those covers, but hopefully not. I think that might be it for DC. Not a big week. Image got an event. Void Rival, Skinbreaker. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Hyde Street back in business.
Yeah, I was happy to see that. Yeah.
Capes, Final Boss, Wrestle Heist 3. Yeah, some good stuff coming out of Image. I'm not buying many of them, but still good stuff to read.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is combined ones I'm reading digitally and picking up. Absolute Wonder Woman 17, Detective Comics 1106, Ultimates 21, Superman 35, Justice League Unlimited 16, Void Rivals 27, Iron Man 2, Infernal Hulk number 4. Did you mention this, or maybe this is wrong, but I have Punisher 1 coming out next week. Did you mention
I saw it there.
Oh, okay, yeah, Punisher 1, Spider-Man Wolverine, the last issue of that, number 10 comes out next week. The Mortal Thor, maybe Spider-Man Venom, Death Spiral, as you mentioned, starts next week. Skinbreaker 6, Escape number 6, Hyde Street 10, Psylocke Ninja 2. I'm gonna read this Vertigo book, the Peril of the Brutal Dark and Ezra Kane Mystery, because I like the people that are doing it. And Glorious X-Force 2, maybe. Capes. Hulk Smash Everything number 3. That's been fun. I think that's it. Oh yeah, Wrestle Heist 3. Yeah, I think that's it. Another beefy week, it seems like. But yeah, good stuff. All right. So that's gonna do it for that. Chris, what was your favorite book of the week?
It'll be between World's Finest and Fantastic Four. I might have to give it to World's Finest. I did like that. I got Superman, Batman, evil Batman. Can't go wrong with that stuff.
That's also in the running. Fuck, I would love to say that Ultimate Spider-Man, the last issue, was, but it's not. It's
not.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's good, but not the best.
Solid. No. So I'm gonna go with in contention is Batman, Superman, World's Finest. What the hell is it? The other one that I like, FF, like you just said. But ultimately, I think I got to go with End of Life number 1 by Kyle Starks. I just loved this book. But I also had those other 2 in the running. It's between those 3 for me this week. So yeah, those are also excellent. But yeah, I got to go with End of Life number 1. I was really impressed by that book, and just Kyle Starks bringing it once again. So that's going to do it for this week, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out our solicitations video. That won't be too far behind here in the feed. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Chris.
Cheers.
Cheers.